Rob, what role can you see faith playing in an Asian society?
What we've experienced today seems to me to be a real similarity as well. We've come from different places and we found some of the same things, haven't we? I mean, you were talking about the inner and the outer. Say a little bit about that.
Well, I think we're all facing the changing nature of community. Community is an important vehicle of inclusion and of having a place for different generations, and yet our society is becoming more nuclear, more dispersed, more isolating, and we're all facing that, and we all have traditions which are about the close bonds between generations. So how do we live them?
Yeah.
And on the inside, how in a world which tends to value us for our utility and for what we do, how do we value qualities like wisdom, the faith, love, and the ability to engage with life, but also to let go of life.
And your community, like mine, has been around in this country for many generations. And one of the things that I was really struck by was your comment about how young the Muslim community is and how some of these issues are only just beginning to impinge.
Well, it is a young community in that 1/3 of Britain's Muslims are under the age of 16. Half of them are under 25. But then again, when you look at the other age spectrum, we still have 100,000 Muslims who are over 65. And so the picture is changing, and we are seeing an emerging older population. But also with that, we are seeing pockets of loneliness and issues of care, because things are changing. Families are becoming a lot more nuclear. With growing affluence, people are travelling to parts of the country, and so the idea that culture or faith may just automatically look after the problem of elderly care needs cannot be taken for granted.
No. And I think that all of our faith communities are going to be affected by this move from 3 generations to 4 generations as being the norm. You know, what we're saying about the nuclear family, that the old tradition that is often assumed to exist, that, you know, somehow everything passes down by one generation. Actually, that gets harder, doesn't it, when those people who are maybe retiring are still responsible for aged parents just as well as they're responsible for their own grandchildren. So, you know, again, it's going to be something that's affecting everybody.
Well, that's right. And if you look at my own situation, my parents came in the 1960s, and that was part of the first migrant generation in the 1950s and 60s. And what we're seeing now are 3rd and 4th generation Muslims moving on from the migrant generation, and so the needs of care are emerging, and that connection between grandparents and grandchildren is there, but at the same time there are some very real issues around care that are emerging. People are living longer as well, people are having to look after growing family needs, and so who is going to look after people at a stage in their life? That's a question that has become very relevant.
And I think, as the theme of our conference today, Later Life Matters, well, clearly it does for all of our faith traditions, but also perhaps some of our models of care of older people, you know, that have grown up in one faith community, perhaps a largely Judeo-Christian model, that's going to affect as the members of other faith communities get older. So we're on a cusp of change.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a phrase like Skype grandparent as well, and social mobility, and its impact on the family, and the dependence we have on different kinds of care and our responsibilities.
I've really enjoyed our conversation around the tables and around the group today, and I think, you know, this is a conversation that we've begun today, and clearly it's one that we need to continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.